Hi everyone and welcome to Messy Church. It's really good to be with you and I'm so excited about the crafts that we're going to do together and the story we're going to hear. I'm really pleased because I've got some friends with me today.
Hello from Andy and a very warm welcome to Messy Church.
Good morning everyone. Hello everybody.
And we're really pleased to be doing Messy Church with you, even though we can't be in the same place. Last time we saw you for Messy Church, we talked all about Lent and how we journey through this time of waiting. Well, we're almost there. We're almost where all of it has been leading. We're almost at Easter. So this time at Messy Church, we're going to think about the sadness of Jesus dying and then the happiness of Jesus rising again to new life. So enjoy the crafts and I'll see you a little bit later for the story too. Have fun.
Right, what do we have at this time of year? We have daffodils with yellow and green, looking really fresh. So, have you ever been to a cave? Because a cave, you can see them at the seaside where the waves have washed out part of the cliff. But this cave was in the grounds. So around it and on the top of it there would be grass and flowers. So if you've got your colouring pens, colouring on the plate before we start. And why are we looking at a cave? We know that Jesus was killed because the soldiers and officials said he was a threat. But there was a lovely man, and he was called Joseph of Arimathea. And he didn't agree with the decision. So after Jesus died, he said, "Can I wrap the body in a linen cloth and put it somewhere safe?" So he took it away to go in a cave. So what we're now making is what happens after Jesus has died. His body is put safely in a cave. The plate, so that it's just got a bit of greenery which shows the garden, but you can decorate it as much as you like. And then you cut into the middle. Then we're going to fold it round like that so that it makes a cave. And what we do then is we get some sellotape and we stick it so that it sits down. There we have the cave that Jesus' body was put into. When Joseph has wrapped Jesus in a linen sheet, he'll take him through the opening and put him safely inside, but we now want to make sure that he's safe in there and that nobody else goes in. It's a cave that's never been used. So what we need to do is get a big stone and put it across the entrance. So in your pack you'll find a big stone. What we want to do is make it look pretty. So there is a little cross like that, and use your colour pens and put it on. And let's make that cross colour in so that it's a sign that that is where Jesus is buried. So just colour in between the holes on your cutout, which forms a lovely cross. If you want to decorate it even more, you can do. But we put this round and decorate it. Take the lid off and there you are. It's got a cross on. But if you want to colour a bit more, you can do so. But that is the stone that was put inside to stop anyone getting in to the cave.
Hello everyone, I'm pleased to be back with you, ready to do another craft, and we're going to change these two very ordinary looking lolly sticks into something that's really, really special. We're going to change them into a cross. Now they're very plain, these lolly sticks, aren't they? Just little pieces of wood. They don't really seem like they could become something really special, do they? And the same is true with the cross that Jesus died on. It was just two plain pieces of wood, but they're special to us because we remember that what happened on the cross was something truly amazing. Perhaps you've seen people wearing the sign of a cross. You might have seen one in church. Maybe you can spot some around school. And that's because the cross is such a special thing to us because of what Jesus did. So as we make our cross, maybe we can think about that. So I've got these 2 lolly sticks, and I'm going to hold them a little bit like that, if you can see, in a cross shape. And I've got one of these gold twist ties as well. You might need to use some sellotape if you haven't got one of those. What I'm going to do is try and secure this cross, these 2 pieces of wood, 2 lolly sticks together as a cross. Now I'm twisting mine around a little bit there, just to make sure they stay really firm. There we go, I've got my cross. It still looks very plain, doesn't it? And that reminds us of how plain that wood was at first, when Jesus was crucified on it. Just ordinary pieces of wood, there was nothing special about them. But what was really special is that Jesus wasn't an ordinary person. Jesus is and was the Son of God, and God himself. And when he went to the cross, something really special happened there, because he was going to the cross even though he didn't deserve it. He went there to show that God is so powerful that God can even beat death. Jesus had to die to show this, because it's only once he'd died that he could be brought back to life. The other thing is that he was killed on the cross because actually we've done so much to go away from God that perhaps there was some punishment due. You know, if we've done something wrong at home, maybe eventually mum or dad or gran or grandpa might tell us off. Well, humans have done a lot of things wrong, and God didn't want to tell us off and hurt us. So instead, God himself came and took the punishment of all of us and went to the cross. Now, because it's such a special thing that happened there, we're going to decorate our crosses. And we're going to do that by taking some glue, or you might have some sticky pads or something like that. And hopefully you've got lots of lovely, beautiful there are sticky gems. I've got stars and Easter shapes, and I'm going to use these to decorate my cross. So I'm going to cover it in glue, and this is no time to hold back. Let's get covering it. Cover that cross in glue. Yes, and once it's nice and sticky, if you've got some, you can use some double-sided sticky tape if you wouldn't want, couldn't you? Or some little glue pads or something like that. Once it's nice and sticky, we're going to start adding on our beautiful sparkly decorating bits. Oh, I'm going to add stars and all sorts. And you know, it's really good to do this. Some of you might know that on Easter Day, sometimes in churches, we decorate crosses with flowers. It's a good reminder that the cross where Jesus died was plain and ordinary at first, but the man on it, Jesus, was not ordinary, he was extraordinary. And also, though he died on the cross, Jesus didn't remain dead. Jesus came back to life just 3 days later. So when we decorate our cross, we remember how God showed that death doesn't have to be the end. Yes, all of us die on this earth, and that's really hard to take, isn't it? Perhaps you have known somebody who's died, perhaps especially in this last year, and it's really sad, and nothing can change how sad that is, except that we know that because Jesus came back to life after he had died, we can know that we can come back to life not on this earth, not on this planet, but in heaven, and we can live there forever with God because of what Jesus has done. I still find it sad when people I love die, and I find it very sad thinking about Jesus dying on the cross. That won't change. But I know that there is a happy ending after all, that even though we die on this planet, after this life, we go on into heaven, where it's so beautiful, and where all the people that we love who've died before us will be. And we know that Jesus will be there because he is ready to welcome us into heaven. And we're told that heaven is a place where there's no more crying, where there's no pain, where there's no death, where there's no sadness, because all of that has gone away, because Jesus has made all things really good. So when you decorate your cross and it's sparkly and shiny and beautiful, perhaps you'll remember that death on this earth is not the end. Jesus has made it possible for us to live forever. So this sign, this symbol, the cross, which is where Jesus died, that symbol of death, is also a reminder of the amazing love of God and the amazing power of Jesus, that we don't have to think that this is the end when we die on earth. We can go on to heaven where things are so beautiful, where there's no more sadness, where there's no more death. And I think that's really wonderful.
Right then, everybody. Thank you, Carol and Becky, for your wonderful creative crafts there. I am going to be making chocolate nests with you. Now, in my special machine here, I've got a pan of boiling hot water, and I'm going to add some chocolate buttons. Doesn't matter what chocolate you use, but we had some of those lying around. And we're going to gently heat the chocolate till it's all nice and melted. Now you must go very steady with this, and you probably get the adults in school or at daycare or at home to help you to do this, because you don't want to burn yourself. And it takes a little bit of time, so you have to be very patient and think about, why are we having chocolate nests? I like to make chocolate nests at Easter because I think it symbolises new life and the wonderful world that we have created for us and given to us from God. All the birds, all the insects. So I have got the chocolate melting nicely. I've got some breakfast cereals. I've got cornflakes, but you can use any breakfast cereal you like. Rice Krispies, Cheerios, anything like that. Shredded wheat. Shredded wheat make very good nests. So I'm going to turn that water off now because that's bubbling away nicely. And I'm going to bring my bowl down. There we are. I'm going to move the machine a little bit so we don't have the steam in my face while we're working. So we've got some lovely melted, sticky, gooey, like to stick my fingers in but not allowed to, chocolate. And I'm going to add my cornflakes. And we're going to mix so it's all lovely and sticky. And all of the flakes are covered in delicious chocolate. Now, I've got quite a lot of chocolate in here, so I'm going to add a few more cornflakes. Makes such a nice noise. And when it looks like a great big muddy puddle, I'm going to get one of my cake cases and I'm going to scoop some of the mixture into the case and press it down just like so. Let me move that so you might be able to see it on the camera. Let's bring it this way. This is the problem with not being able to do this in church. You're single-handedly trying to record these messages for you children. So, I hope it's not too confusing. Here we are, lots of lovely chocolate. Makes a change because Sarah's usually covered in lots and lots and lots of sticky glue. And that's really what the chocolate's like on these cornflakes. It's just like icky, sticky glue. And we only need a little bit of glue. So, I'm going to make these, and then in our packs I've put some little eggs, and our little eggs are going to be laid inside our little nests. Let me move that bowl out the way for you. You see, I've got some tiny little eggs, or if you're really lucky, you might have some of your eggs left over from the little bags that we made last month in Messy Church. So I'm going to put a big egg there and a couple of little eggs. So it looks like the mummy bird has been very busy laying little eggs ready for springtime. There we go. Then we can put them in the fridge so that they can cool down and go nice and hard and crunchy for us to take home and share with our friends and family. Right then, boys and girls, I have cleaned up, wiped my area down and put some plastic down, because for our next activity we are going to make seed bombs. Now, these are soil, and it's just a nice stodgy activity. You need a little bit of water. Put a little bit of water in your soil and you make like a mud pie. Not too much, you don't want it too sticky, but you want it to be able to hold together to make a ball. So this needs a little bit more. It feels really cold and squelchy. I like this one. And again, this is to represent new growth. So we can make our little round balls of mud, and when they've dried out a little bit, we can take them home and we can plant them in our garden. Or maybe there might be some space in the flower beds at school and you can plant them so that you can see them growing outside your classrooms. So we have some little seeds. Now some are very, 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 very tiny. I'm just going to tip them out onto the table. I don't think you're even going to be able to see them on my camera. But we have some tiny, I've got tiny little cornflower seeds here and some nasturtiums. Can you see how tiny they are? And I'm going to put this one in the middle of my bomb and make sure it's all nice and secure inside, like so. And we can roll it to a nice ball like that. Then we just carefully put a few seeds over the outside. We don't need too many because when they need to go in the garden, they need to be well spaced out. And we'll just leave it like that to dry. I'm going to do another one. Nice and squidgy in the mud. My little seed in the middle. Squish it down. Roll it into a ball. Into a few seeds. And there we have it. So that one's a really nice, easy one to do. And our hands get really, really messy. So we must make sure that we wash them really well with our special soap, and to make sure that we use our antibacterial hand gel afterwards. Have fun everybody, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye.
I hope you've had fun making all those crafts. I certainly have, and I'm definitely feeling in the mood now to hear a little bit more about the story of Jesus through Holy Week, Good Friday and Easter Sunday. I think it must have been very difficult to be one of Jesus' friends, one of his disciples. He's been with them for about 3 years when we hear the stories of Holy Week and Good Friday and Easter. And it must have been a very confusing time. Jesus was always greeted by big crowds of people who wanted him to do something, to heal somebody, to feed them, to teach them. Sometimes those crowds weren't quite so friendly. And when we get to the stories of Holy Week and Good Friday and Easter, we find a crowd that was very happy at the beginning of the week and not so happy by the end of the week. On what we call Palm Sunday, 5 days before Jesus was taken to the cross, Jesus' friends were with him as he said to them, "I need you to get me a young donkey, and I shall ride that donkey into Jerusalem." And they went to find this donkey, wondering what on earth it was for. Why would Jesus ride on a donkey? Why not a powerful horse? But they went and they watched as Jesus hopped onto this donkey and rode the donkey into Jerusalem. And the crowd went crazy. Imagine seeing the person that you think is the best celebrity in the world. The crowd went crazy. They welcomed Jesus and were so pleased to see him. They waved their palm branches. They threw their cloaks on the floor. That's like their coats. They threw them on the path so that the donkey had a safe trip into Jerusalem. But this same crowd, they changed their tune through the week. And Jesus' friends watched as in Jerusalem, all around Jesus, the conversation started to change. People weren't so happy about what Jesus was doing and who he said he was. On the Thursday, Jesus gathered his friends together and said, "Let's share the Passover meal together." That's a special meal that Jewish people share together to remember the goodness of God in generations past. Jesus asked his friends to find a room to share the Passover meal together. And so they did. They found a room ready for them to share their meal. And when they went up into this room, Jesus did something very strange. He knelt on the floor at their feet and washed their tired, dirty feet till they were clean and said, "I'm here to serve you. Perhaps you would serve others for me." This is a very confusing thing for Jesus to say. We've seen how much he can do, how powerful he is, what amazing things he's able to do for other people. And yet here he is, kneeling on the floor with their feet in his hands and a towel round his waist, like a servant. The friends all sit down then to have a meal together, and they're in a good mood. They're having a great time together. It's an evening of celebration, even though it's also an evening of remembering sad and difficult times from which God in his goodness rescued their people. So they're in a good mood. They're glad to be with their friend, but it's been a strange week, and these voices have been saying strange things in the street about how they're not so happy about what Jesus is doing. And as they eat their meal, Jesus says to his friends, "One of you will betray me tonight. One of you, my friends, will give me over to the people who don't agree with what I'm doing." And his friends, who were in such a good mood, are shocked to the core. They say, "How can this be?" During the meal, one of the friends, Judas, leaves. The rest of the friends continue, and Jesus shares the meal with them, and as they eat, he breaks bread in half. And he says, "This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And the friends, though they receive the bread with gladness, are confused. What does this mean? Later, when the meal is finished, Jesus takes a cup of wine and says, "This is my blood, and it's given for you. Drink this to remember me." And the friends receive the wine with gladness, but they're confused again. This is a happy occasion. Why is Jesus talking about remembering him? Is he going? After the meal, the friends go out into a garden, and Jesus prays and asks them to pray with them. And as they pray, Judas, who disappeared from their table, returns, and with him there are soldiers and important people. Judas comes towards Jesus and gives him a kiss on the cheek. And with this kiss, the soldiers and the important people know that this is Jesus, The Jesus who people have been talking about, not being too happy about what he has been doing. They take Jesus, they arrest him, they take him away, and his friends, who had been in such a good mood only a short time before, are devastated. They're so sad, they're so confused. What is happening? Through the night and into the next morning, important people make decisions about Jesus. But then there comes a point where the crowd need to make a decision. You remember that crowd who was so happy when Jesus came into Jerusalem. Well, now they're not so happy. When important people bring Jesus in front of the crowd, they say to the crowd, "Who do you want me to save? We have Jesus here, and we have Barabbas, who is a murderer. Jesus is an innocent man. I can find nothing wrong that he has done. Barabbas is a murderer. Who do you want me to save and set free?" And the crowd, now so against Jesus, shout, "Barabbas! We want Barabbas to be free." "In that case, what do you want me to do with Jesus?" the important leaders ask. And the crowd, now so angry at everything they know Jesus has done, even though it's been for the good of the people, they shout, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Which means put Jesus on a cross and leave him to die. And that's what happens. Jesus has a beam of wood, a huge bit of tree trunk, strapped to his back, and he's made to walk up a hill to a place called Golgotha. And there, the beam of wood is strapped to another to make the cross shape that you'll recognise. Jesus' hands and feet were nailed into the cross, and he was left there to die. It takes quite a long time to die when you're hanging on a cross. And while Jesus was there, he saw his friends, and they looked up at him and wondered, how could it have come to this? They'd had so much fun together, done such amazing things, seen incredible things happen through Jesus. And now he's dying on the cross. At about 3:00 in the afternoon on Friday, that we call Good Friday, Jesus finally died. And his friends, they took his body from the cross and they put it in a tomb, a safe place for somebody who's died. They put a huge stone across the entrance to the tomb, and his friends walked away, hardly able to believe what had happened. How could their friend have died? Three days later, friends of Jesus came back to that tomb, to that safe place where they'd laid him. Friends who had come to care for Jesus' dead body. They'd bought spices and lovely things to help wrap the body for a longer time. When they got to the tomb, do you remember that the friends had rolled that huge stone in front of it? Well, it was gone. The stone was gone. They looked inside the tomb, his friends now even more confused. It was bad enough that their friend had died. Had somebody taken his body away? When they went inside the tomb, they didn't find Jesus' body. In fact, they found the cloths that they'd wrapped him in lying folded, not used. They also found a person shining bright as the sun. It wasn't Jesus, it was an angel who said to Jesus' friends, "Why are you looking for somebody who is alive where only dead people should be? Jesus is alive." Some of the friends ran all the way back to the rest of their friends and said, "You won't believe what's happened." Others stayed in the garden. Mary stayed in the garden and was weeping, crying, so upset. And she heard a voice saying, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Well, my friend Jesus died, and now somebody's taken away his body, so I can't care for it." Then the voice said, "Mary." And in that instant, Mary knew that it was Jesus. He had come back to life. God had raised him from the dead. And Mary ran back to her friends, telling them the good news. And in the weeks to come, Jesus came and showed himself to the rest of the friends too. It was true. Jesus wasn't dead anymore. He was alive. And because he was alive, they could all know, we could all know, that there is life in heaven beyond our life on earth. Death is no longer the end. We can carry on beyond our earthly living in heaven with Jesus and with all who've died before us. The story of Jesus dying is a really sad one. And we know that Jesus died because of the things that we've done wrong. But we also know it's not the end. And God raised Jesus back to life so that we could know that even death won't keep us away from a God who loves us so much, who is making a place in heaven for us, and who wants to be with us here on earth too, living in our hearts and living in the way that we treat one another as if God was with us. I love this story. It's the best story of the whole Christian faith, and it's the most important one because it's also so true that God raised Jesus back to life. Jesus is not dead. He is alive. I think we should sing a song about that right now.
So, the song today is a resurrection song, and it's got loads of actions. So I want you to, if you're at home, you can sing and do the actions. If you're in church, you might have to be just doing the action. In church? In school, I mean, doing the actions. And not singing. So, here's the song. God's not dead, no, he is alive, he is alive, he is alive. God's not dead, no, he is alive, he is alive in me. I feel him in my hands, I feel him in my feet, I feel him in my heart, boom boom, I feel him in my soul, whoosh. God's not dead, no, he is alive, he is alive in me. Jesus, and again, so sing along with me. God's not dead, no, he is alive, he is alive, he is alive. God's not dead, no, he is alive, he is alive in me. I feel him in my hands, I feel him in my feet, I feel him in my heart, boom boom, I feel him in my soul, whoosh. God's not dead, no, he is alive, he is alive in me. Jesus!
Thanks, Andy, for bringing us that brilliant song. Shall we pray, everybody? Let's say a prayer before we finish Messy Church. If you like, you can put your hands together and close your eyes, or you can keep your eyes open and keep your hands open too if you like. That's how I'm going to pray today. So let's pray. Loving God, we thank you that you are always with us. When we hear the story of Jesus dying on Good Friday, it makes us feel sad. Somebody who had done nothing wrong died as a punishment. Somebody who was God, not just an ordinary person, died. Somebody so special was put to death in a horrible way, and it makes us sad. It makes us also think about the times when we have lost people that we love and who have died, and we miss them so much. But loving God, thank you, because on Easter Day you brought Jesus back to life. And because you brought Jesus back to life, we know that death is not the end, that you are so powerful and so loving that we can live with you in heaven forever and ever and ever, even after we've died here. So loving God, help us to understand the story of Easter and help us to have fun and enjoy excitedly enjoying our chocolate and praising you and remembering your goodness to us in Jesus and your goodness in raising him back to life. Help us to live like people who are ready to be happy about all that is to come. And we pray that you would keep us safe and those that we love too until we are back together for Messy Church again. Amen. It's been so good to be with you for Messy Church again, everybody. I can't wait to see you again. We're really looking forward to seeing you for Messy Church again sometime after Easter, and we'll let you know, and all your grown-ups too, when that will be. But for now, enjoy all your chocolate on Easter Sunday, and enjoy telling people this amazing story about Jesus, who died but was raised back to life. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye!